Hey everybody, welcome to the Herd Fit Podcast with Dr. Sam Rhee and myself, Coach David Syvertsen. This podcast is aimed at helping anyone and everyone looking to enhance their healthy lifestyle through fitness, nutrition, and most importantly, mindset.
All right, welcome back to the Herd Fit Podcast. I'm Coach David Syvertsen. I'm here with Dr. and Coach Sam Rhee. We are going to go over the Legends Qualifier workouts. For those that don't know, the Legends Qualifier is a Masters-only competition. It starts at age 35 and goes up until as high as you want it to go. I think the last division is 65 plus. The Legends Championships will be hosted at CrossFit Mayhem in Cookeville, Tennessee, in, I think it's December 12th?
No, 8th through 11th.
8th through 11th. December, the second week of December. And to qualify for that, there's a few different routes to qualify. Everyone that qualified for the games got an auto invite. So that means basically the top 10 athletes across the world in every age group get an auto invite. I would say the majority do not take it, especially the international athletes. But if you did qualify for the games, you get an auto invite. Another way, the Legends has several different relationships with different gyms across the world. They would that host a 2 or 3 day competition, and the winners from those events get an auto bid, so they don't have to do the qualifiers. And another way, the winners of the last year's Legends Championships have an auto bid. So those are the ways that you don't have to do the qualifier to actually compete at the championships. Everyone else, you have to go through a series of 6 workouts that were just dished out a few days ago from the Joe Linton and Bob Jettings, and I think Rich Froning was also played a part in programming. You now have 3 weeks to take on the 6 workouts. Macro level, before we get into the workouts, strategizing, what are good scores, what do we think the cutoff point will be? This is a really responsible way, in my opinion, to allow athletes that are masters to take on a qualifier and not have to do everything in one weekend.
Wait, do you have to qualify?
I do not have to qualify.
Why don't you have to qualify?
Because I won last year.
Oh, nice. Okay. Don't even mention it.
No. So I'm glad I don't have to do them. I am, for the sake, I do want to do a few of the workouts. I'm still nursing a little bit of a knee issue right now, so I don't want to do the ones that are going to jeopardize that. But I want to do a few of the workouts to help some of our athletes that are doing them, to kind of give them some thoughts. The best feedback you can give on a workout is after doing it. There's no question. And so I want to do it. And I also have a couple people that I talk to on Instagram that are across the country that it helps to have. Whenever I've done qualifiers, it always helped to have someone else's score, not even to chase or run away from, just to have a gauge, right? Like a lot of us, we kind of go into this, and what makes the Legends qualifiers really unique, and I love that they do this, it's called a blind leaderboard. So we have 3 weeks to do these workouts, and you have no idea where you stack up until everything is done, signed, sealed, delivered, right? You don't get to see a score from someone else on the online leaderboard and go redo it and try to beat that person. And I think that really brings you closer to what a real competition is. You just got to do your best. But back to the 3-week time window, it's for Masters athletes, the recovery component is tough. If you're going to have 6 workouts in 4 days or even 1 week, that would be really tough. But even just logistically, it's really tough for people that have jobs, families, kids, Masters athletes, right? To try and jam all these workouts into a short amount of time. I mean, we even have a 3-week window here, 21 days, and we have some athletes that are going to have a hard time fitting 6 workouts in that time domain. So, yeah. I love the process of what they do with the qualifier. I think more people should do it like them, like Joe and Bob and now Rich. I think it's a responsible way, and it makes it more fun and it makes it more inclusive. And by inclusive, CrossFit Bison we have 36 people signed up for this qualifier.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool thing. It's a cool thing to be a part of. It's a cool thing to kind of help out. It gets a little hectic, but it's all worth it. It always is. I think that part of that is it's a very fun, doable process for people that have 3 weeks. And this is the first time that the qualifier workouts have a scaled division. Now, the championships in Cookeville, there will not be scaled divisions. You can't qualify for anything through scaled, but there still will be a scaled leaderboard. There'll be scaled winners. If you videotape your workouts, you'll be eligible for their prizes, whatever they are. So I just think they've done a really good job over the years of making it more and more inclusive, more and more professional, but also just logistically more doable for gyms and athletes.
This has really gotten big time. If you saw the competition last year, Annie Sakamoto and Sean Woodland were the announcers.
And Bill Grunler.
Yeah. Very, very professionally done. The workouts were very intense. The performances were extremely high. They took it up a notch this year with Rich Froning and putting it in Cookeville. I think that's going to add a lot of interest, and even more people are going to show for this one.
Yeah.
I think that if you're going to look for an off-season competition for Masters, this one is the one to go to.
And, and we will get into workouts, I promise. But even to bring that up, I talked to my coach, Henry Toronto, my former coach, Henry Toronto from Crafted Coaching about this. And, pursuing the games, I think it's a great goal for a lot of people. It's very lofty. It's very hard to achieve. It makes you working hard, blah, 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 right? It's unrealistic for a lot of people. But to qualify for something like this is a little bit more realistic. And we could see Masters competing really shift to this is your season. This is your open right now. And then if you qualify, because it's just more realistic to make it to a live competition in this setting than the CrossFit Games.
Only 10 people in each division make it to the CrossFit Games.
Worldwide.
And it's worldwide. And
the
elite of the elite have to compete.
Yep.
And it's so difficult. But the athletes that I know that competed in this last year, like Kathleen Staunton, it felt like such a high level competition for them.
Yeah.
They loved that experience. And if you are someone who is sort of a quarterfinals to semis type of person, somewhere in that region with the age group online qualifiers, you have a legit shot of competing against some really amazing athletes here.
Yep. All right, so let's go over these qualifier workouts. There are 6 of them, and if you look at it from a macro level, it's a very balanced test of fitness. There's going to be some workouts here that you love, some that you hate, some that you think are unfair, some that you think are fair. You're biased towards what you're good and what you're bad at. I think big picture, they did a good job. We're going to talk a little bit about strategy, a little bit about the actual workout, maybe a couple things we could change. But again, I've been on the programming side for a long time. Someone's always going to have an opinion about it, good or bad. So before we get into it, I just want to say that it's a very balanced test and very well programmed. I'm not going to go over every single scaling option for every single age group and RX scale. It'll just for the sake of time. So I'm going to go over the RX workouts, and because the stimulus and strategy will be the same for basically everything.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Globally, what did you see as big picture differences between last year's online qualifier for the Legends and this year online qualifier?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I mean, it almost looks like these are workouts that Joe and Bob would have programmed. So I'm not sure who programmed this. Was it Rich? Was it Bob and Joe? We're going to try to get Joe on at some point. Joe Linton, is one of the founders and one of the guys that really runs the backside of Legends. I would think that he's still, or him and Bob are still the ones. I don't see a major difference. It does look like there's a little less skill, and it's a little bit more inclusive this year. Like in the past couple of years, they've used these really heavy dumbbells that some people just could not move. They had handstand walks. So I just think that these guys are really good at just sticking to classic CrossFit, couplets, triplets, every now and then something heavy, right?
So many couplets and triplets.
Yeah, and that's really what the sport is. And that at this level, I really think it is. Games is a different kind of ball game. But I think that the really macro level, I don't think the programming is that different. I know some people that have been doing it for 2 years in a row will say, I like this year better, I like that year better, this was easier, that was harder. But that's biased towards what that athlete is.
Do you think this will screen for the qualified athletes? It'll get the most qualified athletes to the competition?
I do. I think that if you have a significant weakness, a macro level weakness, whether it's lifting, it's engine, it's gymnastics, it's going to pop up. And the only way you're going to qualify for is if you have something else that offsets. Like if you're really like a 4 out of 10 at something, but you're a 10 out of 10 at something else within this programming, you can average out to that 7 out of 10. And hopefully you have more wins than losses in regards to that.
I don't have a goal for competing at Legends.
Yep.
I did sign up and I will be doing all of them.
Awesome.
And I think they're very accessible. The issue is how much pain do I want to put myself through? These are all mental workouts to me, where if I go at 75%, it's not bad.
Yep.
If I go at 90%, it's going to be really bad.
Yeah, so I did a couple of them back to back this morning, and like I'd be lying if I went into it and said like I went full send just like I would if I was trying to qualify. Like there was a moment in the cow row burpee one, which we'll talk about in a sec, that I was asked, like, do I really need to be doing this? And like, and like this workout, this is going to be one of the things I say about workout one. This workout is more about desire and grit than any ability you have. And it's tough if you're not really pursuing something specific. It's hard to really get those extra 10 seconds off your time.
All right, so what is workout one?
Workout 1, 27, 21, 15, 9. Cow row, lateral burpees over bar. So that's a 10-minute, and the guys and girls reps are the same. So the females, like if you think you're in a qualifying state, I think you need to finish the workout for most divisions, not all. And but for the guys, you do have to finish this workout with plenty of time left on the clock. I think most guys are going to have to be sub 8. I think the younger divisions have to be closer to 7 minutes on that. Again, like you said, unless you have a huge lift in the snatch event or something like that. But I think to be a qualifying athlete, you're going to have to be low 7s, guys. Ladies, I think you're going to have to be somewhere in the low to mid 8s. Again, older divisions, you have a little bit more leeway there. And there isn't a ton of strategy behind this, but I will say the 27 is a trap. You know, think about any 21, 15, 9 that you've done in the past, right? Fran, Elizabeth, it's a very popular rep scheme, right? I always tell people that it's all about the set of 15. It's that middle set. If you can really push through and maintain speed and effort and quality of movement in that set of 15, you're probably going to have a good score. Whatever you were going for, you'll probably have that. But in this workout, because the workout starts off with 27, you get out of that. You don't feel ruined, right? But you're tired, and now you're starting a 21, 15, 9. Like I remember being in that the set of 21. I just did it a couple hours ago, and I was like, oh man, like this is going to be nasty. You're going to have to like really put your teeth together and just kind of, you know, go as hard as you can. I think specifically my strategy for this was push the row a little further than I normally would in this kind of workout, because their standard is that you're allowed to step over the rower. There's no standard. They just said, get over the rower, get whatever you want to do, get over the row. And it is amazing when it comes to your heart rate. Jumping and landing from a jump is what spikes the heart rate up more than anything. So the fact that you get to cut that out of the burpee, I'm not going to say the burpees are easy, but they're easier because you get to step over, and you never really get to a point where you have to stop.
Classically, when I do this type of workout, I know if I go 95% on the row, it'll kill me.
Yeah.
So if I go 85% and only lose a couple seconds, it won't gas me for the rest of it. Are you telling me that I should go like closer to my 90 to 95 on the row?
I wouldn't say 95. I would say closer to 90.
Okay.
Yeah, like I would try to row at like a 90% effort the entire time. Like, yes, your 27 cal row, you'll probably have a higher cal per hour pace just because you're fresh, right? But you don't want to go skyrocket. But I think that when you get on the rower, that's the one thing about these row burpee workouts. I've done so many of these over the years. As much as your heart rate really starts to suffer at some point, the movement patterns are like you really can get back in the rower and maintain some power and strength. And I watched a few people do this so far. I've watched 7 people do this workout so far. I did it myself. And that those pulling muscles that you really can have, like your lats, your biceps, all these things, the pulling process of the row, you can put a lot of effort into that. And I really think you can maintain that cal per hour pace. And then you're someone that's very good at burpees when you're tired. It's a strength of yours, right? You stay low, you get over the rower, you're well conditioned, right? That's a big part of this workout. I think that you're never going to get to a point where you can't do these. Now, if this was you have to jump over, it's a different ballgame.
When I saw a lot of the women do it, it is harder because they're not scaling the cal row part of it.
Right.
I think for the average athlete who's pretty decent, even if you're a woman, I saw a 5 foot tall, 105-pound woman get pretty close to the 9s. I think you should be, if you're reasonably conditioned as an average athlete, you should be, my goal is to get to the 9. You know, competitive, like you said, you have some goals there, but I think a lot of people should just try it and see, can I get to the 9? Maybe I can even finish if I really feel really good that day.
Yeah. And I'll say the last thing I'll say about this workout, your warm-up's very important.
Oh, really?
It's very important. So I'm going to suggest this. We're actually doing this as a gym in a couple weeks, or I would say about 10 days from now. But I think it would be foolish to be like, oh, there's no squatting. There's nothing I really need to warm up for. Like, I'll just do a little bit of row and then I'm ready to go. Like, I would do a very general warm up, 5 to 10 minutes, a little bit of backside stretching, posterior stretching. But this is what I did. I had other people do it, and it's helped me out a lot for 2 reasons. All right. 8, 6, 4, 2. Cal row, burpees over bar at your workout, at your intended workout pace. Like, you go hard, you get your heart rate up, get tired, rest about 5 minutes, and then go hit the workout. And what that does, that's 20 reps of both. That can kind of give you a rough average, like a rough idea of what your time could be in a workout if you maintain those paces, right? So because that's 20 reps, let's call it with all the transitions. Let's say it's going to be about a quarter. So however long that takes you, that is probably going to be a quarter of your time. So if you have an 8-minute goal, you should be able to get that 8-6-4-2 done in under 2 minutes.
And then how long do you wait before you actually start the workout?
About 5 minutes. You want the heart rate to come down. But again, this is classic. You don't want to go from resting heart rate to max heart rate just like that. It feels a lot worse. You feel like you're suffocating. You're better off starting, getting that primer out of the way. And a lot of people don't like to do this, especially my morning athletes.
Yep.
They don't like to warm up hard.
Yep.
And I really think your score will be better. If that's what you're going for in this workout, you need to get tired, but not blow yourself out. 20 and 20 with a 5-minute rest before you start will not be that hard.
Yeah, Hinshaw says that a lot. I've seen him post a lot about the warm-up and the reasons, and that makes sense to me.
Yep. All right, so that's workout 1. Workout 2, we are doing this in a couple of days. I'm really looking forward to watching a lot of our athletes do this. It's a very balanced test. It's a 8-minute cat.
You like watching people suffer.
I do. We just talked about people being like weird, right? I guess I'm pretty weird too. Okay, so 3 rounds for time. 21 toes to bar, 15 front squats. Guys, 135. Ladies, 95 pounds.
Another simple couplet, which means you know it's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt. 8-minute cap. So the fastest times in this workout, I think the fastest, you're probably looking between 3 and 3:30.
Ooh.
Like, I think there are some people that could treat this in slightly longer than a Fran domain.
Wow.
But the people that do that are probably unbroken on the front squats no matter what. I'm going to talk about that in a sec. And toes to bar, maybe breaking that up once per set on average. Maybe your first set you go unbroken.
Who do you think is going to be faster, the best women or the best men?
That's a good question. I think generally speaking, women are usually better at toes to bar, but yeah, I think, and I also think the short range of motion could help out. Like, you have to be a fast squatter to really excel in this workout. And like that times, I just said, like, not even like a strong squatter, but you have to squat fast, right? Like Matt Malone would crush this
I was
workout.
just thinking, I want to see Matt Malone do this.
I'll ask him. I'll see if he'll do it. But so this is the workout that a lot of people are going to look at, like, where do I break things up? Okay. My opinion on this is
going broken.
Going broken until you die. Treat the front squat. I would go at the front squats more aggressively than I would the toes to bar, even if you're a great toes to bar person, because if you break up front squats in a workout like this, the process of dropping the bar,
cleaning it,
waiting, doing another clean, getting set up, it takes a lot longer. It's just more time than you getting to toes to bar, coming off the rig, shaking your hands, and then hopping back up.
I agree.
It's just less time set up, right? Yeah. And so that's like my first suggestion if you're looking at this, right? So I would try as hard as you could to do the biggest possible set you could on the front squats. And that's the first thing. The toes to bar, there are a few different ways to do toes to bar. There's like a faster, less efficient way. Mm-hmm. There's a slower, more efficient way. I think I would go with the speed on this workout. This is a fast workout.
For 63 toes to bar?
For as long as I could, I would try to go fast. The one issue that I have with doing the slow, efficient ones is the grip. It's extra time hanging onto the bar, and I don't think a lot of people realize how much your grip gets taxed in a front rack position. There's very few people that have such a good front rack position where their actual triceps are parallel to the ground to the squat the entire time that it's actually just sitting on the collarbone. At some point, as you go towards the bottom of your squat, your forearms are preventing the bar from coming off your shoulders a little bit. So now you drop that barbell, you have a tired midline, and you got bottom of the bar, and you just can't hold on to the bar that well. So that's something that we should all just be aware of, maybe in your warm-up, that we should play around with the idea of trying to get that front rack really loosened up. Little extra time stretching, a little extra time in the mobility, and then maybe even a little extra time doing some front squats. Sets of 2 to 3. Just because I really feel like the best way to loosen up that front rack is to be in a heavy front rack. So I don't want to tell people to go for a heavy front squat before, but even just like front squat holds, like a 95 pound, 65 pound for the girls, just holding the bottom of the front rack, I think could help loosen up the front rack and make that an efficient piece.
This one is, for the competitive athletes, it's such a sprint. Even your transitions make a difference on this one.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, so your bar's got to be 8 feet away from the pull-up bar. Your barbell's got to be 8 feet away from the pull-up bar, all right? And, that sounds like a lot. It's really not. It's a few steps and you're there. And I think that's part of just the legends, just like the CrossFit Games and the Open, the quarterfinals, they want to make everything similar, right? This was not the case 5-6 years ago. They would just send you the workout, and you'd have people having their barbell like a foot away from the pull-up bar and just hop right into the squat. So it does make a difference. It makes it a more even playing field. Now, I think what are the best times? We just said it. What are the times? This is going to be a little bit of a guess, right? Because I haven't seen this or done this yet. I haven't even talked to anyone that's done this. What are the times that are kind of like that cutoff point? Like whenever I'm trying to qualify for something, that's kind of like what's more important to me especially if it's like, it's not a great workout for me, it's not a bad workout. Like, what's the number I need to be under to be considered, top 30, top 35? Like, that's really, if you're trying to qualify for this thing, and they're taking 30 people, let's say 25 people, because they're probably taking some invites from other areas. You probably need a top 30 score on average. All right.
Okay.
So let's put it that way. Top 30, top 33 score on average. So what's that number? Like, what's that number? I think just based on reps per minute and the fact that it's not a light front squat. I know some of you strong guys and girls like, no, it's light. It's not a light workout. All right. I think if you can be sub 445, that's going to be a good spot to be in.
Wow.
You should be happy about that, and it will hurt. It will hurt. It'll almost feel like Fran-ish. And so if you're looking at it from that perspective, if I think that's it's 36, 72, 108, it's 108 reps. Like, if you can be under, if you could be just a little quicker than 20 reps a minute on average, I think you're going to be in a good spot.
I think it's going to come down to the toes to bar.
You think so?
I think so. For me, it would.
Yeah.
I mean, I can always, I have a rate of speed for my front squats, and I can probably maintain it.
You have really good positioning in your squats too.
Yeah, and more so because actually it's 115 for the 50 and over.
Yeah, right.
But even if it was 135, it wouldn't be horrible.
Yep.
It's really, and we've been doing a lot of toes to bar, and I have a limit of maybe about 30 or maybe 35, and then I just start losing it.
Yep.
And I don't know exactly how I would partition it in order to try to keep my number longer before I start doing that awful single double swing sort of thing.
Yep. So my suggestion on that is I like descending rep schemes, and I think a lot of people go into a set of 21. They're like, all right, I want to do 3 sets. I'm going to do 7, 7, 7. And it's just easy. It's like the math is easy, and I think that's why we pick on something like that. I think it's a better idea to go 9, 7, 5 on the toes to bar, because it's great to know that, especially once you start getting tired, you start having some doubt in your head that you're doing less reps than your previous. And, you're doing 2 less reps. And that adds up to 21, 9, 7, 5. So if you really do fear the toes to bar, you think that's going to be the limiting factor, I like that idea of going 9, 7, 5. Or if you need more sets, try to pick a descending rep scheme. Spend a little bit of time thinking about that. And I would say that first number should not be more than 60% of your max unbroken. So again, a little bit of math here. I can help you out with it if you want some help on that. But the challenge for everyone, I'm going to throw this at everyone on Tuesday when I coach. When you get to that third set of front squats, you hang on to that thing unless you actually fail the front squat.
Absolutely.
Like, there is no question, because remember, that's about 30 seconds of work. I would say 30 to 40 seconds of work, 15 squats in that position. Some people can be faster, I know. Some people are a little slower, but on average, 30 to 40 seconds of work, let's call that. So if you do fall off the pace of what we just talked about, 20 reps a minute, in the back of your head, if I can hang on to that shit for the last 15 reps without dropping it, you'll make up some margin there. Just keep that in the back of your head, and I want everyone to take that on as a challenge. Those 15 squats, get them unbroken, and I bet you can do it.
I knew you'd say unbroken.
All right, at some point. All right, so workout number 3. This is by far the worst one. It is a 20-minute cap, 3 rounds for time, 25 box step-ups with a dumbbell, 50 for the guys, 35 for the girls. The weights go down a little bit as we get older, right? 100 double unders, 50 wall balls. Normal weight wall ball, normal height wall ball. That is just constant pushing with the legs. For as long as this takes you, you're going to be pushing the ground with your legs probably with a lot of the weight being on the front of your foot, if not all of the weight being on the front of your foot. So this is going to be a quad killer. The people that I'm having trying to qualify and the gym, people that are just signed up for fun, I'm having them do this last.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think this is going to be the one that really you feel for multiple days
It
after.
wrecks you.
Yeah.
Well, it's Karen, 150 wall balls, plus 300 double unders, plus 75 dumbbell box step-ups.
Yeah.
And we've done them in the open, actually.
Yeah. Yes.
Really challenging.
They're very challenging. And at first, we thought it was 2 dumbbells. And I think that was the original picture that they sent out, but now it's confirmed. It's 1 dumbbell. You can hold it however you want. That's a big deal. When I first saw this and it was 2 dumbbells, I was picturing 1 dumbbell in each hand doing step-ups. And that's a lot of weight. And this is where there's a huge size disadvantage. If the step-up is hard for you because it's simply just up your thigh when you're standing in front of it, it is a game-changer workout. Like, you are starting below parallel when you get that foot on the box, and to drive yourself up from that piece. Now, the fact that it's 1 dumbbell and you do get to put it anywhere, like you can put it on your shoulder, a lot of people can bounce it on their back, that will help out a lot. But I still think going into that with really tired legs was what you're going to do on round 2 and round 3. It's going to really force you to put some thought into how you approach the things early on. What is your plan on this?
Ooh, well, I think probably just not do it. No, I got to do it. I got to do
Sick
this.
day.
No, the dumbbell box step-ups, since you don't have to carry them down, as a farmer's carry, that I would do probably slow, unbroken. Just go 25 slow.
Okay.
The double unders, it depends on my day. Some days I'm good, some days I'm bad. I'll just try to do as many big sets as I can and get through that. I have to partition the 50 wall balls and figure out how I'm going to get through that, because that's where I feel like me personally, I'll slow down. I'll mentally just be like, oh, I have, 100 more after I do these 50 plus all the others. And that's where I'm going to mentally shut down unless I find a way to keep myself in the game.
Yeah, I mean, the 50 wall balls is tough no matter what. To do 50 wall balls after the other work, it's going to really kind of knock down your, if you normally look at 50 wall balls and say, all right, break it up this way, I would probably say you're going to have to be a little bit less aggressive off the bat.
Yeah, because I don't think I'm going to stop on the dumbbell box step-ups, really. I'm just going to go slow. And the double unders either. But I could see myself sitting there in front of the wall ball for like 10, 15, 20 seconds.
Or once you start getting no reps, just a few no reps in that workout, it's really going to discourage you.
And I need to find a way to stop myself from taking those long breaks on that.
Yeah. So we're probably sounding like really negative on this workout, but I do think this is probably the toughest, just grind it out workout. I'm also biased towards lower body workouts really kind of get to me at some point. So one thing I've picked up on with the step up that helps me, and again, I just don't have great lower body capacity, is, so if you do, ignore what I'm saying, but if you struggle with that kind of like local fatigue in the quad as well, when you get your foot on the box, all right, you really have the opportunity to do two things to get yourself on top. You can just really use that foot on the box, right? Quad, centralize, and just kind of push yourself up. Or if you really put attention on pushing off that bottom leg as you're coming up and you're using, like, your calves actually get kind of tired, which could make the double unders a little bit tougher, but that really shoots you up a lot quicker. And that local fatigue in the quad is a little less because the calf on your opposite leg is doing a lot of work. So that's one thing I've really picked up on is I put it on a shoulder. All right. Sometimes I have to like kind of hold it there. Sometimes I can balance it, whatever. All right. You can play around with that. And it's uncomfortable. It hurts. You have to suck that up. But the strategy of foot in the box, push your bottom leg up, I think can help out, grind it out. Like, I agree with Sam. I don't think it's worth trying to break those up because it's a process to put that thing on your shoulder.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not a process to break up wall balls. Like, let the ball hit the ground, look at it for a few seconds, pick it up. So I do agree with Sam that if you are going to do anything unbroken in this workout, it should be the step ups. Now, question of the day, I'm going to have to, this is a little bit tough for me to figure out what the best times are and then what's the cutoff score. I think you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think you're looking at 5 minutes around would be good.
Okay.
Right? So a 15-minute time total. Like,
wow.
I think that would be like a really good time. Right.
Yeah.
So you're really kind of looking at, a minute to a minute 30 at each movement. Or you could even say you probably need at least 2 minutes for the wall balls.
Are you going to go unbroken if you were to do it?
If I were to do it, I would probably do the wall balls. I would not do anything unbroken. I can't do the double unders unbroken. I'm going to admit that. I would be tripping up left and right on this one. But I would definitely do the step-ups unbroken. I would try to do the wall balls in 2 or 3 sets.
Okay.
Descending rep scheme again. So I'd probably do something like, 25, 15, 10, and just try to stick with that, and then just get on the box right away and just start banging out those step-ups. So that's my approach on it. So basically, like, you give yourself a little over 2 minutes for the step-ups, and if you gave yourself a little over 2 to 3 minutes for the double under box step-up combo, that can make things a little easier in your head. Right. And again, it's always easy to put this plan on paper, but once it starts to hurt, it's amazing how long, those 50 wall balls might turn to 3+ minutes. Now, what's the cutoff for this workout? I think it's probably 18 to 19. Like, I think if you really want a qualifying spot in Legends, I think you have to finish this workout.
Yeah.
And again, unless you have a monster workout somewhere else. This is a workout that I really think tall people have a huge advantage. And it's the second one I'll say that about because I think tall people have the advantage in the row as well. But you look at someone like a female that we have in our gym in the 40 group is Amy Edelman. I want to say she's 5'8", 5'9", right?
At least.
Yeah. And so stepping up for her is easy. Wall balls are very easy for her. and she's well conditioned. I'm really going to be curious to see what she could do in workouts for this, what she can do in this kind of workout. And then you look at someone that's a little bit shorter that also has great capacity with these movements, but it's just a lot harder for you to step up on that box. You have to throw that ball even further on the wall balls. And I think mentally, guys, you're going to have to really kind of keep it together that if and when you start getting no rep on wall balls, it's okay.
The other thing about Amy Edelman is her wall ball technique is flawless.
Yeah.
And I think consistency is so important. If I were to do this now, right this second, I would think I need to make my wall balls as efficient as possible so I'm not, because I do that all the time. If I'm doing short sets, I don't really focus so much on like where am I hitting and catching and moving.
Right.
And I would at least try for that first set to be perfect.
Yeah.
And that would help me not feel so bad, I think.
Yeah. What do you have any thoughts before we go to the next one? I think the dumbbell unders are going to be sneaky here. Like just because the fatigue in the shoulders after that first round is going to be really bad, and your legs are going to feel so heavy. Just jumping will be tough. What do you like going into a jump rope set? Do you like going in saying, I'm going to try to get to 25, then take a break? Or do you just go, hey, I'm going to go until I start tripping up a little too much and just see what happens?
I'm the second. I go as far as I can before I start tripping up.
Yeah, just try to piece it together.
And try to piece it together. I think I don't know. You're right. We all have plans and then they fall apart once we start. But I feel confident that would be the least difficult movement for me.
Okay.
Is to bang out 100 double unders 3 times.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, unbroken double unders, if you do 100, it's usually about 50 to 55 seconds of work. So if you know you're going to trip up 3 or 4 times or you're going to take calculated rest, again, I think if you're solid on the jump rope, you should be looking at a minute 30 there, a give or take about a minute 30.
I feel like I can break 3 to 4 times and I'll still be fine.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And again, that's another one about that. Again, where do you take breaks? Where do you take calculated breaks? There is no setup required for the jump rope, right? It's probably the easiest thing to break up because all you got to do is just go again. You don't have to pick anything up or put it on your shoulder. So again, if you want to take some calculated rest just for the sake of your heart rate, the jump rope is the place to do it. All right, the next one, we have workout number 4. I just did this one as well. This is an 8-minute Amrap. Wall walks and dumbbell snatches. All right, the wall walks start at 2 reps, 4 dumbbell snatches. Then it's 4 wall walks, 8 dumbbell snatches, 6 wall walks, 12, etc. So basically the wall walks go up by 2 every single set, and then the dumbbell snatches go up by 4 every single set. So another way of saying this is whatever set of wall walks you're on, you're going to double that number. That's how many dumbbell snatches you do. All right, I did this, and 3 minutes into this workout, I knew right away this is 100% all about the wall walks.
Yeah.
Even if you struggle with the dumbbell snatch, with some people in our gym and that we coach, they struggle with the dumbbell snatch. I don't think it matters that much. You can't fall apart completely, but you don't need to go unbroken there. It's going to be how many wall walks can you do back to back, or does it turn into I do a wall walk, lay on the ground for 10 seconds? That's going to be the separator in this workout. What are your initial thoughts on this one?
We do a lot of dumbbell snatches at Bison, and I feel comfortable doing 20 or 30 even fresh unbroken, not a problem.
Yep.
The wall walks suck.
Yeah.
And and they're going to get bad quick because, 2, not a this I'm getting PTSD from all the other open workouts and the other types of workouts where ascending wall walks.
Yeah.
I feel like at 6 to 8, I'm going to start feeling unhappy about them.
I start to feel this right at the end of set of 6. I'm like, okay, this is hard. And it just, 8 minutes goes by pretty fast, which is a positive, I would even say. Like, you're not going to be suffering for that long. It's a little stressful, though, because you feel like you have to, because it's short, that you have to get a lot of reps in.
Yeah.
I'll tell people what I got. I got 96, which I think that's 5 wall walks in the set of 12. All right, so I finished the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 set of wall walks, and then I did the 20 dumbbell snatches, and then I got 5 wall walks, I believe. I have it on video. I'll have to check, but I'm pretty sure it was 5 wall walks in that set of 12. Mm-hmm. And it was something like that. I was surprised how hard the wall walks got early. I also did it 10 minutes after the row burpee, but I don't think it should have affected my shoulders, but my shoulders were smoked during the end of the set of 6, and then the 8s and 10s, I was like kind of limping through them. I was pretty slow there. I think I might have been a little slow on this one.
How much rest were you taking in between each wall walk, would you say?
I mean, early on, it was like tap the shoulders, take a breath, go back up.
Yeah.
But at my slowest state, I probably would do one, and then probably would take a 5-second rest, maybe 5 to 6 second rest. Uh-huh. It's amazing how much time when you take a rest. I'm going to give a little advice on your actual resting position, but just like the process of like, all right, I'm resting. okay, I'm going to put my hand here and get set up. I'm going to put my hand here and get set up. And like the back of my head, I'm like, you're just resting a little bitch. But it catches up fast. And what I did like about it, I was able to pick it up in the last like 30, 40 seconds.
Oh, okay.
So like that, I feel like it paced well from that perspective. And then I did some reps per minute math. Again, I probably get a little too deep into this. I don't want to overwhelm anyone, but I count wall walks just with the amount of repetition and contractions that you're doing on the way back and on the way down, because that's a hard part of the movement as well. I count it as 3 reps. So like a wall walk is 3 reps per minute to me when I'm trying to figure out a pace. And when I looked at the 96 rep score over the course of 8 minutes, but the wall walks were really worth 3 in terms of like figuring out reps per minute pacing, which I'll help some people out with as the workout gets closer. It's probably a decent score. I don't think it's the best. I think the best scores will probably be that people got into the dumbbell snatches at, like they started the 24 dumbbell snatches.
Wow.
I think that'll be a really good score. I think the cutoff would be you have to finish the 10 wall walks plus 20 snatches. Like if you can get either all the way in or almost done with those 20 snatches, I think that's going to be a good score just based on reps per minute math. But there's some people that are just so good at wall walks.
Yeah.
And I think like those people, I'm really curious to watch them on Friday when we do this at Bison. Can they really kind of push enough on the dumbbell to kind of keep that rate of movement the same at the wall walk?
Again, I'm so glad I'm not competing because
this is a pain cave one.
Yeah, you got to, like, I could tell probably around 4 or 5 minutes, you just have to hang on and really just push that pace.
Yeah.
And I know that's really, really hard.
Yeah, it's amazing how different a good wall walk feels compared to a labored one. Like when I'm like, you're early in a workout, you feel fresh, you're motivated, you go. Like it is like nothing. Like big step, big step, big step, all the way back, slide down the wall, easy. But once they get tough, like when you have to get back, if you ever get to that point, you have to like take that extra step and you're just upside down for a little longer. It's tough. Now, one thing just to be aware of, the shoulder capacity, it does pop up on the dumbbell snatch a little bit. Like the dumbbell snatch is not a very shoulder intense movement. But that little second at the top, like where you have to show the lockout, it burns a lot. But you're going to have to trust me on this. You have to suck that up. If that is what's making you struggle on the dumbbell snatch, you have to keep going. All right. But if it's like the back, or you just, you're not locking it out, the actual extension of the hips, the pulling motion, that's what makes it tough, then yeah, take a break. But if it's like, hey, my shoulders are tired when it gets above my head, you got to push through that. And then just take a break before the wall walks. So that's workout 4. We have 2 left, guys. Workout number 5, this is very interesting workout. I watched a few people. I've seen, I think 5 or 6 people do this workout so far. 15-minute Amrap. 4 25-foot shuttle sprints, 5 clean and jerks, and then another 4 25 shuttle sprints, 5 bar muscle-ups. Barbell for the guys, 155, 105. All right, so again, it gets lighter as the age groups go up. Amrap for 15 minutes. The stimulus of this workout with that barbell is like, it doesn't feel light, all right, but it's never heavy enough to the point where you can't lift it. That's kind of like the feel. That's the stimulus for everyone in this workout. Now, this is, might be different for you based on how strong and how weak you are, but I've watched a couple of strong lifters do this. Mm-hmm. It's not an easy lift. Like you have to do there and like really lock yourself in, get good extension. But I don't think it's going to be a point where like it's so heavy where the people start failing the clean and jerk. All right. I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't even look at the shuttle sprints in this workout. This is an Amrap of clean and jerks and bar muscle ups. It's a couplet for 15 minutes. It feels and looks so long. Right? Whenever I tell someone that there's 2 movements in a workout and it's more than 7 minutes, it's going to feel long because you're just constantly going back. This is 15 minutes. This is twice that amount of time. So I think you should go into this workout. Yes, warm up the shuttle runs if you want to practice them a little bit, sure, to find like your rhythm, the strategy, and it will jack your heart rate up a little bit. But I think that if they really wanted to make the shuttle sprints in this workout a big part of it, they should have doubled the volume.
Oh, you mean 200 feet instead of 100 feet?
Yeah, it should have been back and forth. So you go back and forth twice for this, right? It should have been twice that, 4 times. But maybe this was, no, we just wanted to get them like an active recovery break from the 5s. Mm-hmm. So just watching the people, I don't even think about going touch and go on the clean and jerks. Like if you can, cool, impressive, but whatever. It's not going to help you out. I think it's going to jack the heart rate up too much and it's going to mess with your grip. But if you have the capacity, do the biggest possible set you can on muscle ups, I would say.
Unbroken, 5.
Yeah. And again, yes, if you're trying to qualify, I think that's got to be the goal.
Every round,
5 unbroken. Maybe at the end you fall apart a little bit. And the clean and jerks, I would go singles, and then how strong you are will just be based on how long you're resting between your sets, right? Like if you're strong, don't go touch and go. Just give your grip that break, give your heart rate a little bit less time under tension, because there's going to be more time under tension on the rig because you're doing 5 straight reps, right? You're engaged all 5 reps. Here's the question. How fast do you need to run these? What's your initial thought?
I watch those guys, and we've done shuttle runs in workouts.
Yep.
I can't run fast, and I have one speed, which is slow to moderate.
Which I think helps you in this workout.
Yeah, like it's just sort of a jog, because 25 feet, you can't sprint, like blowout sprint, because you have to accelerate, get to speed, decelerate. You got to do that 4 times. That's a lot of extra energy for what?
Yep.
How much time do you save?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you can get, if you go all out on these runs, you can get them done in I don't know, 10 to 12 seconds. If you jog it, it might take you 15 to 17 seconds, you know, and like you do that math add up, like, oh, that might give me an extra minute at the end of the workout, but you're just going to be sucking wind. I think the shuttle runs are the opportunity for you to get the heart rate down just a little bit. You shouldn't feel like the heart rate is jacking up after the shuttle runs. I'm not saying it's going to come back down. You're moving. A lot of people don't have the capacity yet to move and get the heart rate down, but you shouldn't feel worse after the shuttle runs than you do going into them. That would be my biggest suggestion. So if that means this turns into walking, I still think it's okay.
Walking, really?
Yeah. I mean, I saw Reyna, I saw Dave Boak, and they both did really well on this workout. I don't think they didn't walk the whole time, but like once they start to get to like that, all right, this barbell and these muscle ups are really jacking my heart rate up. I'm just going to use this shuttle run to get myself to feel better. All right. And that was the purpose of walking. You know, am I going to suggest walking to everyone? No, I'm not going to, but I would say don't stress too much if that's what this turns into. It's a grind. This workout really is I just watched Kevin Yurchak. He's really good, and Kevin's got a shot at qualifying. He's got a really good developed engine conditioning base that he can stay smooth for a long time. And that's just the thought I had on him from start to finish. Did you watch him do it?
Yeah, his bar muscle ups at the end looked just like they did at the beginning.
Yep.
Which is impressive.
He had similar splits. He was looking at like a minute 30 to minute 40 splits from the beginning. I think he slowed down a little bit at the end, but it wasn't by much. And he finished with, should we disclose his score publicly? He was right. I think he was right above 9 rounds, right? Or right at 9 rounds. And that's a good score. I thought the best scores in this workout would be 10 plus. And for him to be right there, I think a qualifying, what we said, like that line that you want to be above for most age groups is probably going to be, you know, almost finished with 9 or finishing 9. Like I think that's kind of like where it's going to be a spot where, hey, if you want to qualify, unless you have, you know, monster workouts elsewhere, 9 rounds for the younger groups. For the older groups, you're probably looking at 7 to 8. I think is a nice, like, all right, I think I'm in the game. Not much else you're going to talk about with that workout. I just think that you're going to have to go into it saying you're going to get 6 minutes in and be like, wow, I still have a ways to go. All right. So the last workout.
You know, they didn't scale the 50 to 54 on those clean and jerks or bar muscle ups.
I do think, maybe the topic for another time, but I do think that the scaling for weights should start at 50, I think. And I would even make an argument that it should start at 45. I just don't see the logic behind people that are 47 years old doing the same exact weights as people that are 35. And definitely don't see the logic behind 50 plus. And I felt that way for a long time. And just the experience that I have with athletes here, seeing athletes at different competitions, and knowing that there's a certain stimulus that we want out of certain workouts, I think that's the line should start at 45, but I'll be okay with it if it starts at 50. It should not be starting at 55. No way. All right. So last workout, there is no time cap on this workout because you're eventually going to get knocked out by the weight. All right. So it's a ladder. So you're just going to continue to lift weight until you can't lift it anymore. That's when your workout's done. So there's no time domain here. Every minute on the minute, you have to do a snatch. All right. Guys, we're starting at 155. Ladies, we're starting at 105. Those starting weights will go down as we get into the older age groups.
Only at age 50. I would start at 135.
Okay.
And women,
which
95.
Is a very small drop.
A little drop.
So this workout, not a ton of strategy. I have a couple things for you, but it's what can you snatch? That's what this workout comes down to. You know, how strong are you? Yes, maybe a little bit of how strong can you lift when you start getting tired, right? Because there's not a ton of rest in between these sets. But there's not much to it other than like the actual snatch technique, right? Like that, I wouldn't call that strategy. The one thing, and yes, this does start high. I've had a lot of people that signed up for the qualifiers and are like, I can't snatch the first barbell.
Yeah.
Or that is like right at my 1 rep max.
Yep.
So, you know, what I like for the gym's sake for this workout to start off a little lighter, I would, just because I don't think it hurts many people to start off with a lighter barbell. Like you have guys going up to 275, 285. You have women going up to 205, 215, right? Like that means that's going to be a 20-minute workout for them. Like they're going to be snatching the bar 20 times. If you're adding even more reps to that, but I just think for the inclusivity of this, you want a lot of people signing up from gyms. I think it should have started at probably guys around 115 and ladies around 75.
Yeah, it would only have added a couple minutes.
Yeah, and it just gets more people. Like I have over a handful of people that can't do that first barbell.
Well, they're going to have to scale to 75, 55, I suppose.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure for the qualifiers, if you pick RX, it's for all the workouts.
Oh.
It's not like the open where you can go back and forth.
I see.
So, I mean, is it a big deal? No, like I don't think anyone's, awfully upset about it. And I just think for future reference, if you are trying to make this more inclusive, just start things a little lighter in a workout like this, and all the negativity gets erased just like that. So here's my suggestion on this, right, is if you know you're going to get past like those first 3, 4, 5 barbells, okay, cool. But once you know that your squat snatch is coming up, like a lot of people start off power snatching, and then eventually you have to go to the squat snatch. I think there's some value in just practicing the squat snatch at lighter weights.
Agreed.
Even though that you could power snatch it, cool, and you don't like to squat snatch, I think there's some value in warming up the squat snatch motion, knowing you're not going to fail, so that when you get to those really tough weights, it's not the first time, and you're basically doing a new movement.
How many times have I tried that where I power clean something or power snatch it, and then you go heavy, and then suddenly my body doesn't respond to that change in motion, and then I fail it when I really should be able to do it. So I would start squat snatching very early in order to get my body used to that.
Like I would say, like if you want an objective number, I would say 3 barbells before you're going to squat snatch. That's the minimum in terms of where I would say. So if you know your 1 rep max is like the second or third barbell, just squat snatch right away. If you know you're going to make it to like the 12th, 13th barbell, all right, then maybe power snatch your first 5 or 6, but then before you need to, start the squat snatch. And if you feel like you have great lower body capacity, then squat snatch them all.
Well, we just saw 3 or 4 people do this one.
Yep.
And Liz, who has great form, she power snatched pretty far into it, and then she switched to her squat snatch.
Yep.
And she did it flawlessly.
Yeah.
And then I think legit started with a squat snatch from the get-go because it was pretty heavy just to start for her.
Yeah, completely different athletes too. Like Liz is a power athlete. Like she can move weight because she's so powerful. Legit snatches a lot of weight because her technique is near flawless, and she just has a really good position. She's got great pulls, keeps the bar really close, great mobility, right? Like she's someone that can, like, her butt is 3 inches off the ground at the bottom of her squat.
Yep.
And she could just hang out there.
Yeah.
A lot of us can't do that. I think Liz, if I had her, she might do it again just for the sake of hasn't squat snatched in a long time.
Yeah.
That's another thing that we haven't done with her in a while. We haven't done a lot of squat snatching. Like we just started squatting her a few weeks ago. So I don't know if we're there yet with the movement, but if she does it again, I'm going to recommend, not require obviously, but I think she should just start squat snatching a little earlier. Just the confidence is there because she can lift whatever she failed at. She can lift that bar.
She was holding it in the squat position.
Yeah, with her heel off the ground.
And she failed once front wise, and then she failed one back wise.
Yeah.
And I feel like if she was, a little more confidence in that position before she stood that up, she would have made that.
We know this, right? Snatch is very much about confidence, right? Like I can usually watch someone fail lift. I'm like, all right, hey, you probably can't do that. Or more often than not, it's usually like there's just like that little hesitation, trying to get that bar into that right position at the bottom of your squat.
I don't think Boak actually squatted any of them, actually.
Yeah, he power snatched most of them. His overhead position is not the greatest at the bottom of the overhead squat, so he's got to protect that shoulder a little bit. He's so strong that he can power. He did try to squat the one that he failed. So if he does that again, which I don't think he will, I don't think he should either, again, I would say like, hey, maybe at 215, 225, I'll start squatting a little bit.
He's so strong. When I watch him, his first pull is so slow.
Yeah.
Then he gets that to the hips,
explosive.
and he just like freaking just muscles that thing up.
The bar jumps off his hips. He's fun to watch lift. He really is.
What did he hit on that one?
He hit 245, and he was probably an inch or two away from hitting 255 in the squat.
And who else at the gym could do that?
Nobody.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody. Squire's probably pissed off right now. But Squire's also not a Masters athlete, so he doesn't count. I don't think there's anyone in our gym in the Masters division. There's no one in our gym, period, that can snatch that. DeCarlo, I think, has done it in the past. I think if he trained Zoli for a while, he could probably approach that. But that's going to be a really good score for both.
I was about to say, what do you think you need especially on the women's side? I think in order to qualify on this one.
This is a tough one because like every time we do qualifiers, this happens in open a lot, quarterfinals. You have some people that are so good at lifting, but they can't do anything else. So it's like, I think guys, you need to be above 215. I think.
Okay. Even the older athletes?
I think I would say for the guys, 35, 215, and I would say every age group probably goes down 10 pounds.
Okay.
All right.
Fair.
Maybe even 10 to 20 pounds. But so I think the guys like in the 40 group, if you hit 205, I think you should feel like you're in a good spot. Women in the 35 plus group, you're probably looking at having to hit 155.
Whoa.
145, 155.
Impressive.
And then go down by 10 pounds, everything. I think you're in a good spot.
Yeah, I think you're right actually though.
Yeah. But again, like I think that if you blow it on this one, I've had workouts where I really blow a lift in the past with these legend qualifiers, you can make up some ground elsewhere. You just have to now make up ground in 2 workouts instead of 1. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't think you're ruined if you don't hit this lift because it's always skewed. The strength events, the one where it's essentially a 1 rep max, they're always skewed a little bit because there's a lot of athletes that let's say in the top 20 of this score, 9 of them were bottom 75 in the other, or not even in the top 75 in the others. Like that's just always the case with strength lifting.
With this one, you could probably, if you weren't happy, redo it.
Yeah.
How many out of the 6 would you say are redoable if you weren't happy with your score? Because you can submit all of them anytime you want.
Right. I think you got to be a little careful with the squat ones, like the front squat one, the wall ball step up one. I definitely would not repeat both of those. All right, because it's a lot of volume in that position.
The row burpee one.
Row burpee one. I think so. This is an idea I have for some people. I think almost everyone. Well, yes, for a fact, everyone could redo that one. Do you really want to? That's another question, right? If you're not trying to qualify, I would say there's no point unless you're trying to learn. But I do think that there's value in doing something. All right. Can you? And I've talked about this a lot in the past. There's value in getting a score that you really tried hard on, and then kind of looking at the splits of that score. So if you got 8 minutes in that row burpee workout, you create a pacing plan to beat 8 minutes. Even if you get 7:58, it's a good skill to acquire. And more often than not, that teaches people like, all right, I should have started a little slower. Like Chris Grant sent me a time that on that row burpee workout, I think he said it was 740 something, 745. And he goes, I did my 27:27 in under 2 minutes. And I was like, dude, that would basically put you on a 6:20 pace, and you ended at 7:45. So something happened that your rate of fatigue really slowed you down.
Yeah.
So if we told him now that he has a 7:45 time to beat, we can create splits for his 27:27 that would probably take him 2:30. Right? But he would feel a lot better when he started. The hardest part of that workout is the 21s, in my opinion. He would feel a lot better going into that. So I think that's one I would definitely redo if you're trying to qualify. Just see if you can go shave 10, 15 seconds off based on a pacing plan, all right? The front squat burpee, the front squat toes bar one, I would not redo unless you got to a point, like you said, my toes bar got to singles and doubles, with 15 reps left. Like, all right, so let's see if we just go back and just
slow it down,
scale it back a little bit.
Yeah.
The snatch one, I do think you could redo. I would just be careful with. I think everyone should do the snatches coming off a rest day. Like I wouldn't do a hard workout and then come into the snatch. I think the strength work should always be done feeling fresh. Get a good warm up in to open up your thoracic spine, your squat. The run one, I don't think you're gonna want to do that one. A couple people have already told me they've ripped from it.
Oh, because of the bar muscle ups.
Yeah, so you're probably only looking at doing that once.
And then the same with the box step-ups, double unders, wall balls. Just do that once.
Yeah, so that basically leaves us with the dumbbell snatch wall walk, the row burpee, and then you probably could do the front squat toes bar. and the snatch. So you probably redo 4 out of 6 of these.
If you needed to.
If you needed to, yeah. And again, in my opinion, it's not worth redoing them if you're not trying to qualify or you have like a really specific, like, I really screwed something up on this workout. I just want to see if I can create a plan for myself and I can take that approach to future workouts where I'm really trying to shoot after something. So those are the 6 workouts, guys. I hope that this can help you guys out a little bit in terms of what you're actually pursuing, whether it's trying to qualify for the Legends Championships in December, or you're just trying to use this as a gauge for where your fitness is at in relation to other people's, because now you're approaching sport. Or hey, if you're just doing this for fun, I hope that you guys can just go into it and just maybe develop a little bit of a plan for yourself to try to maximize your results, right? It's not just about trying hard here with your fitness. I think if you put some thought into things and bounce some ideas off of some other people and maybe kind of contradict yourself a little bit and then go after workout in a different way, especially you CrossFit veterans that have been doing this for 5, 6, 7 years, I do think a lot of margin could be made up by you just approaching your workouts differently. And there's no harm in trying something different like that word pacing. So, Sam, anything else?
No, just shout out that all of the information they provided was actually very good. It was the best information, scorecard, explanations that I've seen out of a comp in terms of they even provided the kilogram to pound conversions. So I thought they put a lot of time into prepping for this workout. And so kudos to Legends Comp for that.
Yeah, thanks, Joe and Bob. And we're hopefully going to have Joe on for a podcast coming up in the fall at some point to talk about the championships and maybe even some of the backstory of Legends and where this has come from as it turns into the premier Masters event outside of the CrossFit Games. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to listen to the Herd Fit podcast. Be on the lookout for next week's episode.